Hey everybody, Shane with 3MGTV, and today is another What Are We Even Trying to Do? Today we're going to talk about making the most out of your recording sessions, and also get down to the comments and suggest new videos, or say what you think of this one. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.
What are we going to learn today?
So when you go to record, there's a lot of stuff that you have to get done. I mean, if you're recording with a band, or if you're just a solo artist and you just have your songs and you want to get your songs down some kind of way, then there's different things that you need to consider. Here's what I want to do, is I want you to think about, what are we trying to do? Am I trying to get my song down the best that it can be, or not? Because that's what you're doing. I mean, so many people want to say that they play music for themselves, or that it's not about the money, or that, they have some sort of individualism they're trying to exhibit through their art, and that's fine. But then I start to wonder, why are you recording music if it's not for public consumption? So, the biggest point would be to get the song sounding as good as it can get, because the public can't tell the difference between a great recording and a sort of organic recording experience versus they like the words or not. So there is some amount of appealing to the lowest common denominator that we have to do. And where this comes in to butting up against how much the stuff can cost is, let's say that you're at a studio that charges by the hour. I don't charge by the hour because I think it's unfair to everybody involved. But the other side of that is within reason, this point, which is that if you have a guy in the band that can't really play the part clean enough to record it, like say the part that he came up with in practice, and that's the thing that you want it to be, but when you go to track it, it's just a bit junk. If the producer is able to play it, no problem, or whoever, let him. It's still your guitar player, in this case's ideas, say, but it's going to sound better in the context of the recording. He may be doing guitar throws and jumping around, or just look really good. And that may, if you break it down and think about it, his real value to the group, and then when you get him in the studio, it's not, that's not really his bag. So you have to say, are we so worried about protecting the guitar player's ego, or are we trying to get these songs that we perform with him all the time and everybody's happy to a state where they are recorded, where people will listen to them and be happy? Will we save time? Because the other thing is, if he shows it to, say, the producer, and the producer's like, yeah, I got that, but then he insists on playing it and he spends 2 hours, how much did that cost you for him to mess around? Here's another way, and this comes up with me a lot, which is in the case of solo singer-songwriters. I've said in many videos, I work entirely in the box. I don't have room to be micing stuff up and carrying on that way, and if I did, it would sound as though I don't have room to mic things up. But the recordings that I get are very slick, because I start with a bunch of sterile sounds, and then you can add all the jank, if you will, to it. So people come to me with their songs, and they play acoustic guitar, and they sing, and they write words, and then they're like, I want a full production. So I say, cool. If you're that guy, go to somebody that is going to take care of those other instruments' performances for you, and then let them play the guitar for you. Because what you don't want is to find yourself trying to learn to play bass on a track when maybe you haven't recorded very many tracks, or have never played bass really, because you're just going to end up with a really amateur sounding thing, when you could have just let somebody, or gone to somebody who's going to make your song like the ones on the radio. And again, do you want it to be like the ones on the radio or not? Because if you want to go all Stevie Wonder and just work it out, fine, do that. But if the songs you write sound like pop country songs, then make them sound like pop country songs. Because people that listen to those songs are used to them sounding a certain way. And if you don't know anything about how to play drums, you're going to have a hard time getting your track to sound like those if really your strength is writing words, singing. I don't know how many times, by the time we get to the part where, the drums are programmed, the bass is in, ancillary instruments, scratch vocal is in, and then we go to play the acoustic guitar rhythm, and the artist goes to play it, and it's not what it needs to be. And so I'm like, man, let me give it a shot, see what you think. And if you're a producer, say this stuff. Say, man, what are we trying to do? You're on the clock, in the case of the hourly studios and things, and I mean, it's everybody's time, Even if it's a by-the-job sort of thing, if somebody messes around 3 hours trying to learn to play their part good enough to record it, well, now everybody's a bit burnt out, and we could have diminishing returns later on. So you don't want that either. Say, what are we trying to do? Are we trying to make this song, this creative device, be as good as it can be? Or are we trying to just have everybody represented? And if you're just trying to have everybody represented, fine. But don't be surprised then if your listeners, especially the ones that don't know who any of you are, say, something sounds off. That's not what we're paying money for. Anyway, I hope that video got you thinking. Leave some comments down below. Let me know some of your recording session stories. The bad ones will probably be more entertaining if you have any.